Jadi, before I begin today, I'd just like to dwell and very shortly, at the request of the Secretariat of VSN2030, to acknowledge and to also recognize the plight that the whole country is going through. Our fellow Malaysians, our fellow proponents in the sports industry, the struggle that they are going through within this very extraordinary and unprecedented age that we live in with COVID and pandemic, So a lot of our sports industry punya players out there are suffering. They are sharing a lot with us at VSN 2030, and we seek to acknowledge that it is difficult to have a dialogue about 10 years, 5 years, 3 years down the line, when even the livelihood and sustainability of today is at risk. However, at KBS and VSN, we maintain the need for a dialogue to prepare our industry, to prepare our population for, and especially our future generation for the times and for the challenging times and all these unknowns to come. With that, I'd like to jump into the topic that we have today. Ladies and gentlemen, technology and innovation are components that are synonymous with modern sports as the world knows it today. What with this pandemic, this need for digitalization and also technology has jumped quite exponentially. So we have witnessed a rise in this adaptation from broadcast technology, athletic and performance tech, emerging solutions in sports medicine and sports science, up to consumer solutions such as Strava, Zwift, wearables. Technology and data is a part of our everyday lives. So Malaysia and Malaysians have seen a revolution within this space. Today, we have speakers to extrapolate on the roles that, the various government agencies play in, in sports tech, in propagating a more fertile environment for sports tech, and to demonstrate how it is parallel with Visi Sukanegara 2030. So without further ado, I'd like to invite our esteemed speaker, Dr. Noazlina Arifin, from MOSTI to begin the session today. I believe that you have some slides to share, Doctor. First, Assalamualaikum. Welcome, Doctor. Please tell us a bit about yourself before you begin.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, our moderator, Mr. Syamil Yusof. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Noazlina from Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. I'm now the Undersecretary of Technology Transfer and R&D Commercialization Division. So I believe what I'll be sharing with you and our distinguished panelists and our audience will be very much relevant and in line with Visi Sukanegara. So thank you to the Secretariat of Visi Sukanegara 2030, Ministry of Youth and Sports, for inviting MOSTI to be part of today's town hall session, emphasizing on technology and innovation in sports. I believe we agree, based on what we have watched in the video and based on the explanation given by Mr. Syamil Yusof, that we agree for a collective, inclusive and comprehensive development of our national sports in line with the shared prosperity vision. And of course, there will also be strategies, action plans, actors or stakeholders to execute the plan with monitoring mechanism put in place. Nonetheless, in moving towards us becoming a sporting nation, we need to know what we really want so that we can intensify our sports civilizing programs towards a sporting nation, so that we can also grab every opportunity, be it for the athletes, the industry, the academia, the government, or the society at large, via the use of science, technology, innovation, and economy. And of course, Mr. Syamil has rightly mentioned that technology plays an important role, especially in improving our quality of life and also our economic growth. And of course, the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic has also changed the way we live, where it requires not only the government, but also the people, the businesses, the sportsmen, to change our way we live, to adapt to the technology and digitalization, and also to facilitate the new norms. And sports as well continue to keep speed with disruptive megatrends, particularly the demand for enhanced user experience and personalized content by embracing change and pioneering new tools that hammer back at the boundaries of possibility. Next screen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be sharing on three main topics, namely on MOSTI's primary functions, as you can see there on the screen, as well as initiatives under MOSTI, that we in MOSTI believe can play a key role in the development, not only in the development, but also in the advancement of our national sports, plus recommendations that may not be something new, but worth reviving with a different ball game altogether. Okay, next. So this is my first sharing on our MOSTI's primary functions. Next slide, please. Next. Our functions are to promote in understanding, awareness, and appreciation of SNT, to promote research and development in science, technology, innovation, and economy, and provide efficient technical and management support services. This is just the background information for those of you who are not familiar with MOSTI. And we also have funding. We have R&D in our various agencies. We also have technology transfer. We have enculturation of SDI through various divisions, agencies, government-linked companies. We also have companies limited by guarantee to cater to all, from grassroots innovators to public and private entities, as well as the society. And apart from the recently launched National SDI Policy 2021 to 2030, MOSTI is also working on several technology-related policies and roadmaps. And these include policies and roadmaps on electrical and electronics technology development, vaccine development, blockchain, hydrogen economy, nanotechnology, AI, robotics, advanced materials, commercialization, innovation, and economy. And I must say that even in the present initiatives, there are facilities and R&D outcome that can be leveraged upon by our sports stakeholders for advancing our sports, which I will share later. So as you can see there on the screen, under SDI services, we have Department of Chemistry, we have Agency Nuclear of Malaysia, we also have Malaysia Space Agency. Of course, when people listen to nuclear, they will think that nuclear is dangerous, but no, it's not. Nuclear can also be used for civil application, which I can share, which I will share later. Okay, next. Ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned earlier on the National Policy on Science, Technology and Innovation, which is actually in line with the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030 and has been endorsed by the National Science Council in 2020, chaired by the Prime Minister. And this policy has also formed the basis of our 12th Malaysia Plan at the national level. Therefore, strategies and action plans for the document on Visi Sukarnegara, I believe, will be in tandem with our National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy. And I applaud everyone here for being part of this journey towards contributing ideas and views for the development of our national sports to ensure that it is sustainable forever, inshallah. Okay. Through National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy under Trust 2, there is this technology development through research, development, commercialization and innovation, in which there is also a strategy to encourage efforts and cooperation among ministries to address national and global challenges, especially issues and challenges that impact the well-being of the people. This is where everyone can work together to achieve the same goal, our vision for our national sports. And in addition, I would also like to share a decision made by the National Science Council in 2017, in which a mandate has been given to Institute Sukarnegara. So Tuan Ahmad Faizal, the CEO, is here, to transform Institute Sukarnegara as a center of excellence in sports, technology, research and development. And the National Science Council, among others, agreed that Institute Sukarnegara is, as an agency under Ministry of Youth and Sports, is recognized as a center of excellence in sports, technology, research and development, and also as a leader and coordinator of sports technology and R&D through strategic collaborations with government agencies, research institutions, and also industry. Okay, and of course, our vision is to become a high-tech nation by 2030 and transforming the country from being technology users to technology developers and creators. Okay, next screen, please. And of course, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, there are many focus areas in sports. We have various areas to cover in sports, and we also need to know which areas that we would like to focus on in terms of technology and innovation, because we know that we have limited resources and we need to optimize. Yeah? And the National Science Council, in fact, in 2020 has also deliberated on we call this as 10 by 10, Science, Technology, Innovation and Economics Framework, which integrates 10 technological drivers on top of the screen there that you can see, and 10 socio-economic drivers at the bottom there, to raise our dynamic capability of the Malaysian economy for Malaysia to be adaptive and innovative with innovative capabilities. And of course, if we look at down there, the socio-economic drivers are such as smart technology and systems, water and food, medical and healthcare, combined with science and technology drivers, including advanced material, sensor and bioscience technologies are related to sports. And this sound framework provides a systematic approach to transform Malaysia into a knowledge-intensive economy, generate shared economic prosperity across the diverse ecosystems in the country, manage public health pandemics and economic volatilities, and be globally competitive by 2030. And certainly the socio-economic and science and technology drivers contribute directly and indirectly to the development of our sports industry. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, through the 10 by 10 STIE framework, 30 niche areas, 30 niche areas have been identified through series of stakeholders engagement by MOSTI through our Academy of Sciences Malaysia to ensure that they are aligned to the national aspirations, and that R&D funding disbursement in MOSTI at present is also using this as reference. We can also observe that many niche areas listed here can be beneficial in the advancement of our sports, for instance, in digital areas. I believe many of you here are very familiar with electronic sport, which is slowly becoming a household name with various e-sport events happening around the world. And of course, the movement is usually attracting investors and a great audience in the Western countries. And the world is moving to a point whereby we will have the virtual world integrated into traditional sports and have new innovative sporting activities emerging. And 4IR, or the fourth industrial revolution, is undoubtedly one of the most trending topics this year, given that our national policy on 4IR was recently launched by the Minister in the Prime Minister's Department and Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. And technology plays an important role in improving the quality of life and economic growth, and likewise for our athletes and sporting facilities and events. The question to pose here, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? And is Malaysia ready? Okay, so next slide, please. So based on these 30 niche areas, they have been classified in terms of contributions, in which we say that 12 niche areas are identified as economic boosters, 11 niche areas are classified as dual impact enablers as a combination of economic and social impact, and 7 niche areas are identified as societal well-being catalysts. And of course, dependence on imported technology should be reduced to open up opportunities for our local companies, especially our startups out there, to research and develop technologies. I was informed that there are many startups involved in our sports industry, so they can become competitive and produce exportable products or items to international markets. And this should also be the same case for our stakeholders. In MOSTI now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this will be interesting to many of you here, especially for those seeking funding. We have Strategic Research Fund Committee to look at whether funding applied falls into the national strategic areas, especially for Malaysia Grand Challenge Fund. We do have a Malaysia Grand Challenge Fund recently introduced under the 12th Malaysia Plan. If we can go to the next screen so that we can elaborate. But before that, I would like to share that we also have at present 10 game changer programs which have been identified by MOSTI at the national level and are being rolled out. Okay, the next screen, we lambat sikit bergerak. Okay, they include Technology Commercialization Accelerator, Malaysia Science Endowment Fund, National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, Precision Farming, National Vaccine Center, to name a few there. So the 10 game changers. And we foresee that many R&D output and outcome resulting in any of these game changers may result in sports as well. So we have at the center there above, National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, which is one of the key initiatives announced under the Short-Term Economic Recovery Plan or PENJANA, which aims to accelerate Malaysia's journey of becoming a high-tech and high-income nation by improving the development and accessibility of advanced technologies. So Encik Amiruddin, the acting CEO of Magic is here. I believe we'll deliberate on this further, in which Magic is the lead secretariat. And of course, this is very important because this NTIS, or National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, allows researchers, innovators, startups, and high-tech entrepreneurs to test products in a very safe environment. Okay. Next, ladies and gentlemen, before I share with you on our funding facilities that we have in MOSTI, let me share with you some data-driven storytelling on sports. Mr. Shamil, before the beginning of our session, has also mentioned to me on the importance of data. So recent tech advancements, notably in cloud computing, in enabling agile over-the-top internet broadcasting, artificial intelligence, big data, and virtual reality have started a paradigm shift to hyper-personalized broadcasting models, and sports media are leading the way. So this is a poll on the screen by BBC 2018-2019. What does this data tell us? They tell us that the interest of fans or public are also shifting in terms of sports. For example, technology and products management at Sportradar, a global leader in delivering sports data and content to media companies, sports federations and the betting industry over the last 2 years has outbid rivals to become the official data partner for most of the major American sport leagues, NBA, NFL, NHL, as well as NASCAR. By securing those rights, it allows Sportradar to be in pole position to bolt on a range of innovative media products. And it is data-driven storytelling that will come to dominate sports media sooner rather than later. What then, ladies and gentlemen, the role of MOSTI in technology and innovation? Okay. Next, if you can go to the next screen. Actually, I have another example, but if I cite for an example, we'll run out of time. So I will share on the examples from MOSTI. Okay. So this is on MOSTI's initiative. Next, MOSTI has launched the Malaysia Grand Challenge on 8 January 2021, which is supported by 5 research and development. Don't worry, we have 5 research and development funding schemes under the Pemacu Strategic Technology Fund. These 5 funding schemes are extended to applicants from startups. I know that there are many startups in our audience here today, and small and medium enterprises through agencies under MOSTI to encourage the research, development, commercialization, and innovation in Malaysia. And the 5 schemes offered, next screen please, are Strategic Research Fund. Okay, next screen, number screen. Technology Development Fund, that one. Technology Development Fund 2, that 2. Bridging Fund, as well as Applied Innovation Fund. So as you can see on the screen there, 5 schemes of funding altogether. Each one with different criteria, and also they also address different technology readiness level. So when we say technology readiness level, it denotes the what do you call it? A method, a method for estimating the maturity of technologies, whether the technologies are already ready to be into the market. Is it commercialized or not commercialized yet? So actually this is a method developed at NASA during the 1970s, so that if we use this technology readiness level consistently, we will derive a uniform discussions of technical maturity across different types of technologies. And for this Malaysia Grand Challenge, unfortunately, it is already closed now for application, but the rest of the fund can be applied for. So the objectives of all these fundings is for us to achieve the target of 3.5% gross domestic expenditure for research and development by 2030, and also to support the efforts of the High Tech Nation Council in formulating the current and future direction of the country's development. Okay. In fact, in MOSTI, we did have 2 applications under MOSTI's fund in relation to sports back in 2013 and 2017. One is by UKM in 2017, Smart Counter with Integrated Calorie System for Tracking Athletes and Active Individuals' Dietary Intake. And the second one is on Proxy Mobility Management for IP-based wireless sensor networks for sports. So probably later on, ISN can also check on these particular R&D products. Okay. Next. Okay, let us move on to Malaysia Commercialization Year, or MCY. MCY is the main initiatives under MOSTI on commercialization of R&Ds funded by the government to boost innovation and commercialization activities in all sectors and at all walks of life in Malaysia. So from 2016 to 2020, 386 products or technologies have been commercialized. They are all the product of R&Ds funded by the government, with a commercialization value of RM402.5 million, surpassing the target of 360 R&D products or technologies commercialized, which was mentioned in the 2016 budget speech. So we know that commercialization activities are very important, especially contributing towards our economic growth. And Mr. Shamil mentioned to me earlier that this issue on commercialization has been discussed in the Technology and Innovation Part 1. Okay, so for your information, we are now in phase 3.0 MCY Goes Global, that we hope MCY can also be leveraged upon by more local SMEs and startups, including those of you in the sports industry, so that we can reach the apex, the glory of our national sports. Okay, so this will be continued. Okay, next. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about high performance athletes, when we talk about having sports hub in Malaysia as a world hub at the global level, when we talk about talent development by the use of technology and innovation, to have a more structured and comprehensive based on STIE application, there are many types of technologies for us to bank on, even in nuclear technology, which I mentioned earlier. And nuclear technology has good beneficial civil application. So I am now going to share with you few examples from our agencies under MOSTI that can be leveraged upon by our sports industry or sports stakeholders. And it is also worth to mention that we also have dual technology, which is a technology that can be used either by military and also by civilians. So few of the examples can be used by both military and civil. For example, in this case here, this is a biocomposite material used in floating jetties for military use, applicable for tourism, fishery, and we believe that it is also suitable for water sports platform. So this material is highly resistant to weather condition and has also been used in pepper farms in Sarawak. So kalau kita tengok ladang black pepper, white pepper dekat Sarawak tu, dia ada kayu pancang tu. So the kayu pancang also using the same material, so very highly resistant to the weather. And this technology can be applicable in sports technology as well. And Tuan Ahmad Faizal, the Director General of Malaysian Nuclear Agency, mentioned that their team members are interested to produce lightweight pedal for canoe out of the same biocomposite material, and they would be glad to speak to ISN if they can work on this. And they're open to have further discussion with KBS and also the stakeholders. Okay? And of course, when Mr. Shamil mentioned earlier that the pandemic outbreak has affected many of us here, we also need to be open on having low touch, high technology in sports industry as to reduce spread of COVID-19 from person to person or from surface to person. Low touch, high technology is the talk of the global world now to reduce spread of COVID-19 virus. If you just plug in low touch, high technology, you can Google, there will be many types of materials coming out, and many countries in the world are now embarking into this low touch, high technology. And in fact, this is a new initiative under Working Group 9, Science, Technology and Innovation, chaired by Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, which reports to National Pandemic Committee, chaired by Senior Minister of Defence. So this is something that was to be looked into by our sports industry as well. Okay, next. So what is the second example of technology that we have here, which can be applied in both military as well as civilian and our athletes? The second one is on nanotechnology in textile industry. Yes, nanotechnology is being deployed in textile industry, and this technology penetration is embraced majorly on two grounds by our military because of health insights of individual soldiers and the overall battlefield insights. And likewise, these nano-based textiles and composites for sporting attires and equipment are also good to be worn by our athletes. The R&D can also be collaborated among all related parties in the future for other initiatives. And of course, other related industries can also use this type of technology as well. Okay, next. So what do we have next is an example from our Malaysian Space Agency. So the technology, space technology can also be used to assist our sports industry. How? Next screen, please. So we have remote sensing technology. So when we say that we would like to have our sports to be inclusive, to be able to be enjoyed by every walks of life in Malaysia, we can use remote sensing technology, which has the potential for mapping and monitoring of facilities and suitable areas for sports. As we can see here, apart from being used by the military, the same remote sensing technology is also being used to detect fish site identification system. So this is something for us to learn as well, because I believe this is also something new for many of you here, in which when the fishermen use this particular system, they can go to the site quickly, reduce their fuel consumption, increase their fish catch, and also the system is accurate for 3 days. Even if I look at the system today, if I go to that fishing site 3 days later on, I will still catch a lot of fish. Okay. All right. Next, ladies and gentlemen. So those are some of the examples that I can cite in this short sharing session. Of course, we have key recommendations here in which strategies can be deployed so that we can continue to work on demand-driven R&D in sports with customer-centric approach, and also establishing strategic partnership among quadruple helix parties. And of course, the word is not only collaboration, but also co-opetition, in which the rivals can also work together to bring business profitabilities, but nonetheless for the benefit of all. So talking about collaboration, I would like to draw your attention to Industrial Collaboration Program, or ICP, under Technology Depository Agency Berhad and agency under MOF. So I believe this is an avenue worth to be explored to advance our sports, since we want high performance athletes, we want state of the art sports facilities, we want sports hub. So how can we do that using ICP platform? Okay, next. Next screen, please. Next screen. When we talk about ICP, ICP PDA, ICP is also known as offset and counter trade. And before the birth of an agency under MOF, the name is TDA, Technology Depository Agency. ICP was managed by Mike. So this is an example, a simple example of procurement made by any government agencies with the value of RM 50 million and above from a foreign countries. Then they are required to do this ICP or offset. So one classic example that I would like to quote is on our sending of Malaysian astronaut to International Space Station. That was actually the result of an offset when Ministry of Defence Malaysia procured Sukhoi jet from Russia. So in return, with the same value amount, without us having to fork out any single cent, so they provide us with an ICP or offset by sending Datuk Sri Sheikh Muzaffar Shukor to the International Space Station. So this is something that can be leveraged upon by our sports industry. We don't need, it doesn't take KBS to make the procurement. for KBS to be the recipient of the offset. It can also be the case like MOSTI and MINDEF, because MINDEF bought the Sequoia, but the beneficiary of this ICP was MOSTI back then. Okay. Next. So this is just to show you how the way ICP works, because there is a diagram here in the next screen. So lambat bergerak. Okay, so if you look here on the screen, this is the basic concept of ICP. On the left side here is the conventional way in which any government agencies will have their own procurement, whether the procurement is 50 million procured from a foreign OEM or RM 100 million for syarikat tempatan utama. So the left side will be taken care of by the procuring ministry, and the right side will be taken care of by Technology Depository Agency, an agency under MOF which has been mandated to foresee our national ICP. And of course, the opportunities are very vast. Of course, we cannot ask for the sun and the moon, but the opportunities are endless for us to look into. And of course, even our startups can also state their wish list to TDA, because among the ICP returns that TDA can negotiate or request can be in the form of collaboration, smart business partnerships, contract works on strategic and high value packages, local content, technology commercialization, so on and so forth. And in fact, for example, if probably we would like to request for the building of state-of-the-art facilities, but we need to make sure what sort of facilities, then we can also put up the request to TDA. And TDA also mentioned that they are open and they are ready to discuss on this wish list. And in fact, on our vaccine procurement right now, they are also in discussion with the vaccine producer for an ICP to benefit Malaysia. So I believe that is all from MOSTI. And of course, we at MOSTI believe that STIE interventions are needed to boost our sports industry, and also for us to become a sporting nation. And also for us to produce world-class products, technologies and services of our own, and for us to have a global sport hub in Malaysia. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Noazlina, for that extremely comprehensive explanation on the wide range of incubation, acceleration and growth catalyzation that MOSTI offers in the context of sports tech and also startup development. Thank you, Doctor, for sharing that. To the members of the audience, if you have any questions or inquiries in regards to the presentation as well as the topics that Dr. Noazlina had spoken about just now, please don't hesitate. You can either raise your hand, which we will bring you to speak your question later. But if you malu-malu kucing, it's okay. You can also share it in the Q&A punya section for us to address it live, or for us to note it down and then contact you separately. So every feedback and input from the audience as well as the speakers is taken seriously. Hence, we will document and we need all of this interaction for everyone's benefit. So to move on to our next speaker, we have Encik Ahmad Faizal bin Ramli, the Chief Executive Officer of Institute Sukan Negara. Encik Faizal, thank you for joining us. So let's jump straight into your presentation on ISN and also ISN's role in the sports tech punya landscape. Go ahead, sir.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Shamil, fellow speakers, Dr. Noazlina, Cik Amaruddin from Magic. Thanks for having me today at the VSN Sports and Innovation session. First, let me share my screen first on this topic. All right. So as what Mr. Shamil mentioned just now, today's topic is basically around the role of relevant agencies in the realm of sports tech in Malaysia. So ISN was recognized by MOSTI back in 2017 as the Center of Excellence for Sports Technology. And I believe our journey has been pretty challenging, especially in understanding the exact role since the recognition was given. And for the past 3 years, I believe 3 years, we basically just doing certain works on awareness and education, but I believe it's high time now for ISN to move to the next level and begin to play a major role in facilitating and also propagating the sports tech agenda in Malaysia. So let me start with painting some picture on the size of the sports technology market globally. The global sports tech market was valued at 17.9 billion in 2021 and expected to reach a total of USD 40.2 billion by 2026 at a compound annual growth rate or CAGR of 17.5% between 2021 to 2026. So the market growth can be attributed to significant improvements in audience engagement, growing demand for data-driven decisions and operations, online and offline sporting events, and also we have professional sports bodies begin to adopt new technologies in data analytics, smart stadium, wearable devices, digital signage to enhance whether the performance of the athletes, engaging fans, and also to provide smart infrastructure in facilities and stadiums. And I believe these are the trends, the current trends that are happening around the world. And these technological innovations are pretty much something that we need to embrace on for the next few years in nation context. And I believe this is where ISN, mostly Magic, Futurize will be coming in on helping and facilitating the startups, the companies involved in sports tech to further advance our sports tech ecosystem. Next, I believe with the happenings now with COVID-19, with the MCO, people talking about phygital, we're combining both physical and digital initiatives are the trend now. So the future is definitely phygital. We've seen 2 years of digital transformation happening within 2 or 3 months. So the acceleration of digital transformation is happening now, and we can see some of the news. For instance, I read a few days back, from late March 2020 until the early April this year, the global installment of health and fitness apps jumped by 6-7%. So in 2020, the consumer spending on digital fitness rose by 35%, and Strava alone averaging 2 million downloads per month. So that's huge. And believe the consumer embracement of digital exercise appears to be here to stay. And I believe there will be the catalyst for the usage of digital and innovations in physical activities, especially among the masses. And looking at the post-pandemic perspective, we are looking at, of course, the Gen Z. They are the latest, the trendiest consumer of sports. They are now ranging from 7 to 25 years old. So they will be those who will be the biggest group of consumer of sports for many years to come. We can see the shift from traditional sports to non-traditional. Even in the Olympics, we can see in the coming Paris 2024, new sports are being introduced, which is we see it's non-traditional. We have breakdance, we have sports climbing, we have surfing, we have breakdance in Paris 2024. These are basically non-traditional sports emerging to become Olympic sports in the future. And then, of course, esports, huge industry. The use of AI, VR, AR, sensor, data analytics in scouting and recruitment of players, in training and performance analysis, player health, and then, of course, in broadcasting and athlete performance also, looking at the performance solution, And I believe these are the global trends that we need to understand and to move it together with the current trend in Malaysia too. And we can see the synergy between sporting organizations, sporting entities, working together with startups, working together with innovation clusters. So this is where ISN is currently playing our role to bridge the startups in the Malaysian sports tech ecosystem, and also with the relevant agencies and funders in the form of MOSTI, Magic, Futurize, etc. Next, so these are the trends. So allow me to move to the next slide. Of course, the considerations that were given to ISN as the COE for sports techs back in 2017. So our roles is, of course, to carry out research R&D in sports technology, to become the sports tech hub, a reference center for sports techs at national and regional level. And after 3 to 4 years of our journey, we began to see the need for us to realign and re-strategize our role in the ecosystem. As I mentioned before, the first 3 years, it was basically more to education, awareness, which is, frankly, it's not sufficient. And myself as a CEO, I don't see that it's not being the main role of ISN. We should be doing better things and facilitating the industry. So we have come out with the main initiatives under the COE, which will be launched this year. We're going to come up with a new branding for the COE and also with these 4 initiatives. So the first one is sports tech R&D program. I mean, this is could be in-house and also externally. Number 2 is to establish Sports Technology Accelerator Lab, which I will explain further. And then commercialization of sports tech R&D, and also sports product quality enhancement program with listing products and partners, which I will explain later. Next item. Okay, for initiative 1, the sports tech R&D program basically is an in-house initiative by ISN. So we have been developing numerous R&D projects for many years, and the usage of this technology basically is for athletes under the national program. For instance, we developed technical analysis software for squash. We developed a mid-thigh pull system to test the strength of the thigh of an athlete. So these are among the products that we have been developing in-house. So we will continue to do this. In fact, we have also written and applied to MOSTI for some of the R&D fund for our in-house products. And I believe it's on its way now. And then apart from the R&D, in-house R&D, we also collaborate with some entities outside ISN. Of course, for our track cycling project, we collaborate with Total Sim Limited, which have vast experience in the R&D of track cycling. So we are now waiting for it to perform during the Olympics in early August. And we are very excited to see what is going to be the outcome of the R&D project, and also the objective of this program. Is it going to be achieved or not? Next is development of mobile multiple camera system for archery. So it is a collaborative project between ISN and Malaysia Pahang. It's a system developed for sports performers and analysts to customize training regime for the archery athletes. And also, this is new, development and validation of IoT-based in-sole monitoring system for soccer player. So it is this technology can measure real-time foot pressure distribution by using sensor-based insoles, and also the monitoring and measurement can be done in real time via multiple devices. And then this is new, Sports Tech Accelerator Lab. It's a program designed with complete modules to assist innovation and technology startups, companies focusing in sports. we had a meeting with the CEO of TPM fortnight ago on the idea of establishing an incubator station in TPM with access to laboratories in TPM and ISN, as well as testing site around KL Sport City. So it's going to be a collaborative partnership between ISN, TPM, Magic and Futurize. So we are really excited to oversee this project for the next few years. And we appreciate the assistance from and advice from MOSTI from time to time on this. Initiative 3 is the commercialization of sports tech R&D. We do realize that R&D alone is not sufficient. The products that have big potential for commercialization should go towards achieving that commercialization objective. And we are currently working closely with Worksbyte Limited to create a commercialization plan for the WXR Vortec. It's going to be a post-Olympic project looking at the European market for phase 1, in which we are going to commercialize this bicycle for that particular market. And also, we do have this Gym Aware apps. It's a collaboration between ISN and TechCast and Berhad. And I believe this is among the efforts done by ISN to venture into commercialization of sports tech and R&D. Next initiative is Sports Product Quality Enhancement Program. This has been going on for the last 2 years. We are working together with the local startups, ATF Sports Taping on sports tape, developing recovery boots. Currently, we buy recovery boots from Australia, which is costly. So we are working with the local manufacturers to produce our own. And also, we are working with LPM to develop medical aid devices. And AFA Alpha is also a new player in the ecosystem, focusing on modern booking ecosystem and booking system. And Haja Amina, we are venturing into smart vending machine product, which is AI based. And we also working with Biotropics Malaysia to develop supplement from local formula, and also working with OPI on formula enhancements on the protein drink. So these are among the initiatives, the current initiatives under ISN with the local startups and also companies. So these are basically the players involved in the industry, working with ISN, working closely. Data Sukan is our subsidiary, looking at the sports analytics and working closely. Currently, they are one of our proud example of how do we working closely with the industry. They are now have been tasked to work with Astro, providing analytics for Sepak Takraw League, Netball Super League, and the coming products by Astro. And I believe this is the way to go for us, especially in bridging the startups with the industry. And the rest are basically the players involved, universities. We have startups in many forms. And so we're working closely with the latest association, My Sports Technology Association. Most of them are from universities, academia, researchers, and those who are really interested in sports technologies. We are working with them closely on how can we play a better role as the COE for sports tech. So that's for now for the first round, Cik Syamil. I believe the digital transformation is the key for the future of our sports industry, and we always welcome any advisors or any proposal from the startups or companies to work closely with ISN, and where we can together share the knowledge and experience in the sports industry and also high performance ecosystem, and how can we work closely and further with relevant agencies like MOSTI and Magic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cik Faizal. Thank you for sharing with us those bodies of information. It has been very beneficial, especially even personally for myself, to understand the breadth of the landscape and ecosystem that ISN is trying to nurture within the sports tech industry. So now we have our next speaker, Encik Amiruddin Abdul Syukur, who is now the acting Chief Executive Officer of Magic. So Magic, as we all know, is one of the major propagators within not just the sports tech landscape, but primarily in the startup ecosystem, in the tech startup ecosystem in Malaysia. So via very interesting, very exciting programs, modules such as My Startup Hub, we have global accelerator programs, social impact challenge accelerators, global market fit programs. Jamie, these are what we call bridges, you know. So we have about a few hundred participants on multiple platforms, under 100 on Zoom. We have a few hundred on FB Live right now. So, Jamie, I'm aware that most of our audiences today are entrepreneurs, proponents within the startup ecosystem. Could you perhaps share with us as a start on Magic's role with being a major conduit and major medium for sports tech companies and also other tech startups that seeks growth assistance? Tell us more, Jamie.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Cik Syamil, my esteemed panel speakers, Dr. Nur Azlina, Cik Ahmad Faizal. Thank you for inviting me to this session. It is an honor, actually, to be part of this VSN2030 Town Hall session for today. And yeah, I think Cik Syamil has actually provide a bit of introduction on what Magic actually does, but to the benefit of other listeners, other participants in this forum, just a brief, short brief on what Magic does. So Magic actually is a government agency under the purview of MOSTI. That actually focusing in startups and also social innovations, and activities specifically in capacity building and ecosystem development for our startup and social innovation in Malaysia. So we are focusing on how we can actually assist startup and social innovators play their role in contributing to the economy of Malaysia, as well as we will also provide assistance for those that are ready to go on board beyond Malaysia's market. This is where, like what Syamil mentioned just now, we have My Startup Hub as well as global market fit programs, which aim to bring our local startups that are ready to go on board beyond Malaysia market, and we will actually facilitate the expansions there. So that is a bit of introduction on what Magic does, and we are actually more appealing in terms of our capacity building programs like global accelerator programs. We have boot camps, hackathons, and also University Startup Challenge, where we sought innovators from universities to actually provide ideas, and during that programs, they can actually validate their ideas with our mentors, with our experts in-house that we actually provide in these programs, so that after completing the programs, these university students will have a spin-off of being startups and also innovators after they have graduated from the university. So this is also the aim of the nation to help create 5,000 new startups by 2025. So we want more actually SMEs, or we want those tertiary students to be involved in this startup ecosystem in moving forward. And in terms of our contributions towards the technology and innovation, especially in contributing to VC Sukan Negara 2030, in facilitating sport tech to be R&D in sport tech to be commercialized, we have launched National Technology Innovation Sandbox, which was mentioned by Dr. Azlina before. This is where NTIS is become a platform for commercialization of R&D output for local researchers, and also innovators. And where intervention or facilitation is actually provided by MOSTI and its agencies under MOSTI, as well as other ministries involved in this NTIS, to smoothen the R&D output commercialization journey of our innovators, of our researchers. So we want to help our researchers, our innovators to commercialize their findings through the sandbox that actually we provide. And this is where if there's a need to relax certain rules and regulation for the innovation to take place, for the technology to be played in the economy, this is where intervention from all agencies and ministries involved are needed, and we will actually help facilitate those activities in the National Technology Innovation Sandbox. And as for now, we have about 2,000 over interest in NTIS, where about 1,900 has already submitted their draft application, and we have processed thus far about 400 plus application through NTIS, and NTIS has actually already funded through the program. We have actually committed to fund almost 40 billion innovative solutions to be into the sandbox. And perhaps once after they have completed their sandbox journey, their solutions can be actually applied in the industry and to contribute to the economy at large at the end of the day. So as regards to sports tax, even before NTIS, Magic has already received applications from sports enthusiasts, with very creative, innovative solutions. Even before we are under the MCO, there are already initiatives to go into digital solutions under sports. But mostly these are actually sports management angle, from sports management angle, rather than the user experience or we can say athletes performance kind of solutions. Solutions such as the booking of sports arena, doing putting some technology or analytics into the stadiums and whatnot. These are actually solutions that have come in earlier, and we are actually assisting them in their journey to become startups. And we have actually assist a few to go abroad, via our global accelerator programs. And also with regards to ISN, like what Cik Faisal mentioned just now, ISN has also a few initiatives that has actually being partnered by ISN, that has actually gone through also the NTIS sandbox. And we are happy to actually receive more applications, more sport tech innovators to be in the sandbox, to help them actually going for their commercialization journey. And just backtrack a bit on the NTIS. As for everyone's information, NTIS has actually provided about 100 million of government funding, and as I mentioned, about 40 million has already been actually committed authorities to unlock certain environments of self-testing. It's also being our intervention provided in this NTIS. And for those that require live test sites, RP audit and validation for market readiness, technical readiness level. We accept a technical readiness level of 6 to be in the sandbox. This is those that have actually reached TRL, technology readiness level of 6, where their products or their prototype are ready to be tested in real environment, in actual environment, not in the labs or not still in the beta atau alpha kind of status, but to be tested in a real environment. The only thing is that we provide parameters for the testing site, so that any testing that being roped into the parameters, if let's say there's a need for relaxation in terms of regulations, this is where the authorities, together with NTIS Secretariat, will actually facilitate in terms of the relaxation of the rules for that solutions actually to be tested in that sandbox environment. Yeah, and also by focusing on commercialization and market readiness, the NTIS provides a new and valuable resource that is distinctly different from earlier stage incubators and accelerators. And as you know, Malaysia has actually a lot of other agencies that are also doing incubations and acceleration activities. But this is what actually a bit different from what others are offering. And NTIS provides the tools, resources, and vision to get more products and services off the drawing board and onto the arena. This is what I mentioned as actually putting it into the live environment. And for startups, Magic is actually committed to enabling startups focusing the sports industry to thrive through its various capacity building programs. Yeah, this is where, if let's say you have ideas, those that are actually enthusiasts, sports enthusiasts, you have ideas, you think you have great ideas to disrupt the sports industry, you can actually validate your ideas through our capacity building programs. We have actually from ideation program up until the growth programs. This is where if your solutions are actually ready to be marketed, the growth program is suitable for you. And we will actually provide all the necessary tools for you to equip your startups, your team, actually to be ready for the market that you want to enter. Okay. So last but not least, on this topic, Shamil, Magic provides a variety of programs and support for startups to grow talent. Yeah, like I mentioned just now, not only actually helping the co-founders, but if you have actually teams that need to be actually groomed, need to be actually equipped with certain knowledge, technology knowledge, we have actually programs that actually cater to that. To beef up, to make sure that your team is ready and in line with the co-founders in terms of their startup journey. Yeah, and create and nurture sustainable initiatives and accelerate growth lah, at the end of the day. That's our aim when we do those activities involving startups, especially those that are involved in sports technology. Over to you, Cik Syamil.
Thank you so much, Jamil, for giving us a deep insight on the role that Magic is playing. And it is very heartening to know that as an entrepreneur, ex-entrepreneur myself, and someone within the startup ecosystem, to see Magic's wide spectrum of roles within capacity creation and also enablement programs, Jamil. I also want to highlight a bit, Magic has impacted individuals. To my reference is 116,110 individuals impacted already by Magic programs. 447 social enterprises, 1,807 startups with about 19 billion ringgit of value created. That's massive in terms of early efforts by an agency such as Magic. So my question to you is a combination, Cik Amir. Sorry, kena nak combine dengan
It's okay. It's okay.
From Mr. Jagjit Singh to Encik Amiruddin. Selamat petang. Is Techlimpics under Magic? If yes, when will it be held? Terima kasih. Thank you, Encik Jagjit, for your question about Techlimpics. So perhaps before I ask my question, Encik Amir want to address this question dulu.
Okay, thank you, Cik Jajik. Technically, Techlimpic is under MOSTI. The owner of Techlimpic is here, Dr. Aziza. But it's okay. Magic has actually been trusted to be the implementer atau to be the agency that execute the Techlimpics. We have been trusted such much MOSTI. Thank you, MOSTI, for the trust on us. Yes, it's going to be launched soon, and we have actually started the process of structuring the Techlimpics program, and we anticipate actually to launch Techlimpics somewhere in perhaps September. And it will be a nationwide enrollment of Techlimpics 2021.
For clearing that up. Cik Jagjit, I hope Cik Amir has answered your query and clarified. I'm sure you can find further information from the MOSTI website on Techlimpics and the current iteration. So, which comes to our question, Cik Amir. There have been 3 members of the audience who's messaged me privately. I pun tak tahu kenapa dia malu nak tanya kat section. However, the questions share the same spirit, Cik Amir. In terms of as walking in the shoes of a young entrepreneur or even an old or mid-level entrepreneur, what would be the journey that could go through, that they will go through with Magic? What could be your sharing of experience on apa journey of engagement right up to what Magic can do for these entrepreneurs in this room, these few hundred people ni? Itu the biggest question from them, Cik Amir.
Okay, thank you very much. And as you know, just to actually touch a bit on what Cik Shamil mentioned just now, our stakeholders, our participants are not just only youth and just not only those people from the city. It came actually from all over Malaysia, and also all over the globe because we have programs that are being participated by those startups from overseas, and the reason being why we allow such programs and such participation from startups overseas. This is actually to match our local startups and to match, and also for them to create their startup network during the time where they attend our programs. This is where we want them to put their quality of solutions at par with those startups from international, from the other countries in the world. And so that when we produce our startups are actually it's a world standard startups lah. Yeah, that's the intention. And also because of that, we have programs that actually, like I mentioned earlier, we have programs that actually can bring them to the global market. And because of that, because we have actually presence in the global market through our partnership, we also have to actually accept the startup from overseas to come over to Malaysia as the counter activities of our partners in overseas. Yeah. So to go back to your question just now, what will be their journey when they go through Magic's programs? As I mentioned, we have capacity building and we have actually ecosystem development. Why these two are actually important? Because when you build the ecosystem, because we do it concurrently. When you have the ecosystem, but you don't have the talent actually to support the ecosystem, then there's something that will actually damage the ecosystem that you have built. You will later relying on talents from not from Malaysia, from overseas and whatnot. So why there's a need of us to do capacity building as well as the ecosystem development together, because we need to ensure there's a balance in terms of the ecosystem that we are building and the talents that actually we are supporting the ecosystem that we build. Yeah, so we want the ecosystem to accept the talents that are ready for their industry, for their market, and we want talent actually to look forward to the industry that they want to go also by actually building and creating the ecosystem that they want. Okay. So when you come to Magic, sebenarnya there are a few programs. They are actually programmed from initial startups programs. They are actually programmed for those that are already having MVPs, minimum viable products, and this is where they are at the intermediate level. And we have programs for those that are actually at growth stage, and we have programs that those that are already mature. Yeah, mature means you are ready to go to the global market. Okay, so for all these programs, and we will actually accept you, we will do assessment on you when you actually enter our programs, and to see which level you are currently. If you are at initial, you are at ideation level, we may not actually put you into other programs that are actually meant for other levels. Yeah, because then you will lost in transit, and actually you will lose interest if you are actually big enrolled into those programs. So you will go into the ideation programs. This is where we provide ideation validation. Yeah, we do one of our programs is grill or chill. This is where for those that have ideas, you share your ideas with a group of grillers who are actually experts, industry experts, who are actually technologists in the area that you are in, and you will share your idea with them. And this is where they will actually grill you. Okay, until you pass the grill, the grillers questions, you should be going back to your drawing board, actually improvise your idea. Okay, but only after you have passed the grillers questions, you are actually given flying colors. During that stage, you can go into the initial stage where you may actually start to form a company, startups, or you may start actually forming a team. In a startup journey, a team is very important, because you can have co-founders, but if your team is not supporting of the founders, somehow or other you will end up only two people actually running the show, and you will be exhausted along the way. So you need a team actually when to go into the startup journey. Yeah, so when you actually at the initial stage, you can actually start forming a company. You can start actually building up a team for you to actually develop the solutions that you have actually believed that you think this is something that market needed. This is something that innovative and disruptive in nature. Because by nature, startups is doing something, always have the thought of actually problem solving. Yeah, problem solving. So you are actually that's the difference between startups and SMEs, and all micro SMEs. Micro SMEs existence perhaps mainly for survival. Startups is actually mainly to solve actually issues, to solve problems in the economy, in the market that actually, in the community that they are actually playing. So and startups actually have a very kita kata low traction, or a lot of challenges earlier that they will face in terms of technology knowledge, technology adoption and whatnot in their business. But once they have actually passed through the MVPs, minimal viable products punya stage, and where their products, their solutions actually being tested, actually proven, this is where their growth stage actually will go tremendously. They will actually record 300%, 500%, 1,000%, 3,000% growth. To the extent they can actually experience that, and that is what we want to see in startup. But those are actually rose or kita kata cerita-cerita yang enak didengar. Okay, but we have actually also startup that along the way fail. Along the way, then only they realize their products are innovative, but not really actually wanted by the market, not really solve the problems comprehensively. So they fail. This is where actually we allow also through our programs, we want our startups actually to fail. We want them to fail because at the end of the day, we want them to succeed. Don't get me wrong on this. At the end of the day, we want our startup to succeed. But along the way, before they can actually succeed, they have to experience some pivot in strategies, pivot in business model. Sometimes they have to face failures. Yeah, they have to actually go back to the drawing board. They have to actually build up a new strategy or even build up a new team for the matter. So we want them to experience that because that actually for every failure that they face, there's always a lesson. And we want them to actually learn from their lesson, improvise, bounce back, and you bounce back stronger. This is where our programs are there actually to support you during the initial stage. So once you have actually passed the initial stage, you have failed many times, you have bounced back, you have very solid business model, you are all going into a growth stage. This is where there are actually programs that we outline to assist them to grow, actually to record the growth path that they want. Okay, thus they are actually go-to-market strategy programs. They are actually market expansion programs for them. And this is where our global accelerator programs actually take into place. Like our accelerators, our global accelerator programs take into place. During the initial part just now, where I mentioned, they are actually boot camps, they are actually hackathons, and they are actually pre-accelerators that programs that we are putting in. So for growth, they are global accelerator programs that can assist you, or any other programs alike that can assist you in terms of your to improvise, to beef up your strategy for growth. Yeah, to go to market, to go to the right market with the right strategy and right time. Okay, so these are actually programs that we have actually put in. So once actually you have passed through the growth stage and you are ready to go for expansion beyond Malaysian market, this is our mature programs, our mature stage programs are in place to actually assist you in getting the right networks overseas, the right market overseas, validate your solutions at the market that you want to go through our partners programs, through our actually programs that we built together with our partners for this. This is where our global market fit programs, our global market fit program actually come into play. So just to share a bit on our global market fit programs, for this year we have actually identified 4 countries actually for us to bring our startups abroad. They are actually China, Indonesia, and also US market. There's one I can't recall. There are 4 actually markets that we are actually bringing our startups to. So and for those actually who thinks that they are ready for global market, they want to go for bigger market share in this industry overseas, do join our global market fit programs, and the nearest one is China, going to be launched in August. The one that we have launched last month is the one going to Indonesia. So if you go into our Instagram, Facebook, and whatnot, we have actually advertised for those who wants to go to the China market. This is the time for you to participate in global market fit programs going to China. Thank you, Cik.
Thank you, Cik Amir. I hope to all the entrepreneurs, to everyone within the industry landscape, in the attendees list, I just like to mention a few. We have young entrepreneurs like Cik Izzat Nasruddin from Go Strong Academy, who is a social innovator within the area of sports tech and education. Yeah. Then we have Cik Mutiara from Chalo FC, who are very much champions and voices within the sports community, who ask people to embrace inclusivity, progression, and also these are voices which we need to nurture within the industry. So guys, please don't hesitate to approach Magic. Yeah, Magic has something for everyone, and that much we can surmise from Encik Amir punya explanation. Thank you very much, Encik Amir. So before I come to the ending of our session today, which I will ask our speakers the last question. Yeah, I'd just like to address some of the questions within the Q&A section. Yeah, so daripada Cik Tajul Afiq bin Tajul Arus, hi all, would like to know more on the design development on WXR Vortex. So I assume this question is for Cik Faisal.
Hey Faisal.
The WXR Vortex is a bicycle being used by Dato' Azizul Hasni Awang, our very own pocket rocket at the Tokyo Olympics, as well as all the major tournaments that he's joined before. So WXR is a bike where ISN is instrumental, as shown, demonstrated by Cik Faisal just now, in developing. So the question is, how have the collabs been done between ISN and MOSTI itself, and can you reveal the data analysis itself, especially the performance aerodynamics aspects, the learnings that ISN had garnered from this, Cik Faisal? And finally, this technology and innovation might also give opportunity for us for data analytics and design development in the national sports industry for future sports events. Do comment, Cik Faisal.
Thanks, Shamil. I have repeated this many times that our collaboration and our involvement in the WXR Vortex project is a game changer itself for Malaysian sports, because for the very first time ever in our sports tech ecosystem, we were given opportunity by the government with some investment, about 13 million by the government, to manage and handle this project with collaboration with the experts, because our partner Total Sim Limited has been in the game for the past 3 Olympics, 2008, 2012, 2016. And then only after Rio 2016 that we managed to get our hands with Total Sim. And since then, we have been closely working together. We have 2 of our staff being attached to the projects to seek transfer of knowledge and understanding of the technology. And I believe it's a steep learning curve for us too, because we have never been exposed to that before. And I believe we have wrote to MOSTI recently. I believe that Azlina, I'm not sure whether you have the letter or not, but we have written to YBKJ to continue to support this project for the next Olympic cycle, because it's the game now. If you read on the news, I believe there are more than 10 countries that are currently involved in this game, and Malaysia is one of it. And we are, I believe, one of the countries that using the current F1 technology in Silverstone. So I believe this is a game changer again on how do we bring our sports tech to the next level. And it's a very well documented project, and I believe it's applicable for other sports as well. Apart from cycling, we have seen, we have been talking to our sailing association and also swimming association, looking at the application of the knowledge and know-how about what we learned from this project. And I believe we will be sharing more, especially post-Olympic knowledge sharing session via our knowledge management initiative. And if you'd like to know more, I believe it will be on media, especially if Azizul win. If Azizul win, the gold medal will be all over the media. There will be heightened interest on the process involved, the technology behind it, and many more to come. And even if he didn't win the gold medal, I believe the work continues. We seek support because if in the high performance sports, basically you need 2 or 3 cycles to prove yourself. And we appreciate the assistance from all the stakeholders in the ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Cik Faizal, for answering that query. Just like to point out that rightly so, the ISN, everyone's involvement in the development of the bicycle and also within the training of Dato' Azizul Hasni himself, everyone within the podium programs and beyond, we would like to commend all of them. And I think all our support in spirit is out to them to, inshallah, bring home a gold medal in cycling. So, finally, the last question from, or rather, this is not a question, but an averment from Mr. Richard Wee. This, I believe that Dr. Noor Azlina will address this question. Mr. Rick Wee is of the view that legal regulations is a necessary component during the growth of sports tech startups. So he speaks from experience with fintech and cryptocurrency startups. So Dr. Noor Azlina, Cik Richard, they surmise that perhaps Mostly, Magic and of course ISN can adopt the checklist including adaptation of legal regulations when developing these sport tech startups and their journey. Thank you, Mr. Rick Wee. Doctor?
Thank you, Cik Shamil. Thank you, Mr. Richard Wee. I totally agree with you on this regulation. In fact, under NTIS, National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, apart from providing funding to accelerate commercialization, we do have this regulatory sandbox, which falls under the purview of Futurize, also part and parcel of the NTIS Secretariat led by Magic. So I believe what you are recommending is something which is workable between all the related parties, inshallah. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come, it's 4:41 now, we have come to the final section of our town hall today. The final question that I'd like to ask is a common question for all three speakers. You have about 3 to 5 minutes to define your answer. So it is a question where visi sukan negara, as we know, it aims to be inclusive and progressive. It aims to be the true north for the purpose of the industry as well as athletes and most importantly, the children within our future generation. So personally, to begin with, I begin with Encik Amir. How do we ensure that it is a lasting legacy of progress, inclusion and of maturity for all Malaysians from the context of tech innovation and also the context of your personal view, Encik Amir? What anecdote would you like to leave us with today?
Okay, thank you, Cik Shamil. I think I would like to actually use the auto sports analogy for this. If you look at the auto sports, this is where the sports platform is being used by corporates actually to test their technologies on high performance, high endurance sports. Whatever technologies that they build, they believe for sustainability purpose, if let's say their technology can withstand the sports endurance, that technology can also stand when they enroll it for commercialization and for the use of the mass later. Okay, so that's how actually they to see sustainability in sports. We always see at the end of the day, if this actually can be used, used for sportsmen. This can be actually tested in the sports platform. You can see their applications could be much better when they are actually being enrolled into the mass market later. Okay, because they are already tested they have the solutions, technology has already been tested in a very high endurance platform. Yeah, so that is on sustainability. But I also would like to actually advise those that are interested to be involved in the sports technology kind of business as a startup, look into the 3 areas. Athletes performance areas, how athlete performance can be improvised via the technology or solutions that you are providing. Then next is on the stadium experience technologies. Because you are inviting the mass. you are inviting the sports enthusiasts to have actually a better experience when they actually enter the stadium. And with that experience, you will actually encourage more people and more investment to be actually in the sports industry. So last but not least is on the fan engagement and management lah. Because at the end of the day, sports, you need supporters, you need supports. Kalau tak, it will be a short sendiri things lah, kind of things lah, because there's no supporters when you actually show the events and whatnot. So you need fans, and hence, if you can provide solution, can manage fan engagement and management activities in disruptive manner, the trend of investment into it is already coming. So look at these three areas that I mentioned. If you are to go into this sports technology area. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Amir, for sharing your aspirations and your vision. Next, we'd like to have Dr. Azlina to perhaps, before you leave us, share a little bit of your thoughts on how do we move forward and what we can all do together to propagate a better environment for sports tech.
Thank you, Mr. Shamil. I believe we have talked about technologies, we have talked about R&D, about commercialization. I would like to touch upon human factor. We do need in this our journey becoming a sporting nation for us to have leaders, to have very influential people, to have followers, to have fans, as what Mr. Amiruddin has rightly put. And we need to put our belief and trust towards one another. We need to break the silo and work together. And inshallah, whatever we aspire, we will achieve at the end of the day. Even though it is an aspiration that we hope to achieve by 2030, probably when we all work together under the national spirit of teamwork, inshallah, we may probably and most likely achieve what we aspire earlier than 2030. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Dr. Azlina, for those very rousing words. Cik Faizal, perhaps you could share some of your views and aspirations for everyone's benefit.
Yes, Mr. Shamil, I believe what we have shown just now is that the government is committed to support our sports industry, and we do recognize and commend the resilience of our sports industry players despite the pandemic. And of course, technology has unlocked new opportunities for the industry to redefine our future of sports in Malaysia. And every startups, every companies, and also future grant recipients, they hold an important stake in building our shared vision of an innovative sports industry. And please feel free to connect with any of us, ISN, Magic, Mosti, where we can use technology to create engaging and innovative sports experience for Malaysians, for a better future for sports. Thank you.
Thank you, Cik Faizal. Thank you so much. And with that, it brings us to the end of our session today. Again, from Kementerian Belia dan Sukan, from the Secretariat of VC Sukan Negara 2030, we would like to extend our warm wishes and gratitude to each and every one of you for your continued support, continued attention, and also contributions to VC Sukan Negara and to the industry in general. To our speakers, Cik Ahmad Faizal Muhammad Ramli, Cik Amiruddin Abdul Syukur, Dr. Azlina Arifin, you have graced us with your presence today and also given us a lot of benefits within your explanations. And for that, we thank you. To all the guests and everyone in attendance, VC Sukan Negara would like to extend again our warm thanks and gratitude to all of you for your support. Please don't hesitate to visit us at VSN2030.my. Engage with us at all our social media accounts, and do continue the fight Malaysia. InsyaAllah, we will prevail together. Kita jaga kita and majulah sukan untuk negara. On behalf of VSN2030, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you everyone.
Assalam, thank you.
Terima kasih semua. Doktor, terima kasih. Cik Amir.
Terima kasih semua.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Jamil.
Terima kasih.